Hey guys, did I ever tell you that about that time I asked my first wife what she wanted for Christmas? And she said, nothing would make me happier than a diamond necklace. And I was like, great. Nothing it is. So, hey guys, how you doing this holiday season?
Good. It's almost upon us.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I know, right? It'd be good to get some downtime. Although the security issues never stop.
That's
What you
right.
talking about,
When
Willis?
security was, I know, right?
Yeah, and we're doing this on Thursday before Christmas. And next week, we're actually doing it at my studio.
In person.
Yeah, and there's a
Well,
rumor
we'll
that
be
we're going to
fine.
have a very special guest as well as you guys.
Ooh,
So, and
looking forward to
also
that.
Santa! No,
some
not
prime
Santa.
some prime rib will be served, I think.
Heck yeah.
So that should be fun, and hopefully there'll be some fun and happy news that we can report to you. Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, let's get started. We've got a few. Man, the clickbait is just absolutely disturbing, but the first one is pretty disturbing to me. As I was going through and reading the stories, this first one made me go and change my passwords for Xfinity, which I have. So Xfinity hack affects nearly 36 million customers. Here's what you need to know. And the personal data of nearly all of Xfinity's customers, including account usernames, passwords, and answers to their security questions. And I went and immediately changed my password.
So, and that was easy because you're using
I'm using Bitwarden.
a password manager,
Password
right?
manager, yeah.
Right.
Made it much easier. Made
That's
it much
right.
cleaner.
Press a button,
Instead of-
generate a very, very secure password, and change it.
And then you're done.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, this one's crazy. If you go to, oddly enough, if you want like the nitty gritty details, if you go to the Maine Attorney General website,
Okay.
there's a filing from Comcast with
mean the
the
state
Maine
of
Attorney
Maine?
General. Yeah, the state of Maine.
Oh, they're in Maine?
Apparently, I don't know if they're in
They
Maine
service
or
Maine.
if I think if you're an entity that has more than, they say, a significant breach, so more than like say 1,000 users affected, you have to file with the Maine state government.
Okay.
Which I'm surprised, honestly, it's not with every state government.
Right.
But
There's a link in the story, but I'll add to it. I'll add it to the show notes.
yeah, so according to the filing from Holland Knight LLP, which is the looks like the attorney handling this for Xfinity, total number of persons affected 35,879,455. Total Maine residents is 50,000.
Wow.
Yeah, and what's really interesting about this hack, in the filing they do say they believe that the last 4 digits of Social Security number were also in there. They said usernames, hashed passwords, contact info, last 4 digits of your social, birth date, and secret questions and answers, according to the filing in Maine.
All right. Well,
So that's a lot of stuff there. But you know what's the best with this article? Listen to the timeline.
okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
October 10th.
What?
Citrix announces that there was a bug. Remember Citrix Bleed? We had talked about this. This
Yeah.
was the ability to manipulate their ADCs,
Mm-hmm.
What could go wrong?
their application distribution content system, to read memory, right? And people were like, "Oh, this is pretty devastating. You need to patch." So October 10th, Citrix came out with a patch. Also on October 10th, CISA released hey, this is really important and it's being exploited in the wild. You need to go patch.
Right.
If I look back, I think around that week, Security This Week also said, hey, Citrix Bleed is tearing through networks. You have to go patch.
I think
right.
both our listeners heard that.
Right?
Obviously
And they
not
were
the right-
protected. Apparently, they don't work for Xfinity.
Foiled again.
Xfinity didn't patch until around October 23rd, 19th to the 23rd. They're unclear on when they applied the patch, but it wasn't the minute it came out.
But they're such a small company. Oh, wait.
I know, right? Yeah.
Wow.
So They were breached on October 16th.
Jeez, that was a while ago.
So 6 days. Yeah, 6 days after the patch came out, they were breached. They had 36 million users' customer data stolen. They didn't discover it until November 16th, around that time frame.
Wow.
So they applied the patch after the hackers had already stolen everything.
Right.
And then they, in November, said, oh, wow, this is weird. It looks like this was exploited. Then they took till December 6th to figure out exactly what was stolen and work with the federal government. They notified their customers December 18th. And that's why we're just picking this up in the news, is because now they're starting filings. This was literally filed with the government, with the state of Maine, December 18th, the day they sent out the notice to the customers.
That was 3 days ago from this recording.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is nuts.
Yeah. So October 16th is when that data was stolen. Yeah, and I keep getting asked a lot from like family members and customers and that sort of stuff. Like, oh my gosh, should I go change my password? And if you're asking that, then yes, you should go change your password.
Yeah.
But realistically, if your password A was unique for Comcast and you've changed it after October 16th, you're probably okay, but I would still go change it anyway.
Most people haven't changed their password since they created the account.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't have set the password if they weren't required to.
Most people are still using Fluffy 123.
Exactly.
Right. But it's crazy too, because if you read through the filing, it says, hey, or not the filing, sorry, the customer notice. It says, hey, we always recommend you never use the same password in multiple services. So this shouldn't be damaging to you guys. I mean, really all they've done is gotten this password. So
only most people do.
Mm-hmm. Right. But then you think about it, you go, okay, cool. What do you, they're trying to set it up to blame the customer. Oh, you use this password in multiple places? That's on you.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's you. And then on top of that, if you breach someone's Xfinity, what do you get? You get their email. Well, how do I reset my Bank of America account? Oh, I forgot my password. It sends an email to my Xfinity account. Oh, I, want to log in here and I don't know the password. So breaching an email system is
really bad.
Sometimes more damaging than, most other systems.
Right. But I mean, if by now if you've been hacked and your identity has been stolen and your accounts and your bank account drained, you'd know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Would you?
I don't know.
Would you?
You would.
I don't know. You know what? Here's what I was thinking. If we were nefarious, if we were the Nefarious Three, maybe that'd be our name. I don't know. But let's say we were. And here's what we do, right?
Dwayne on lead vocals.
We hack into
axes.
We hack into a bunch of different, like we either send out phishing emails or whatever, and all we do is charge every user $2 a month. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah.
Like some sort of, it almost looks like a service fee. I don't think anybody would ever find that.
No.
Can you imagine if we set up a company and just said, no, we're not going to steal 50 grand. We're just going to take $2 from 200,000 people or 1 million people
wasn't
50 million people.
Wasn't there a hack back in the dawn where they were taking just the rounded penny?
No, that was Office Space.
That was Office Space. Okay. My reality and
like reality, but different.
But no, just because you don't know doesn't mean. So one of the things that I'm starting to dig into a lot more now is email and property fraud. So let me just talk about this for a second.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it is. They're super scary. They usually go together. They often go together. So property fraud is, I'm a hacker and Carl owns a house. And so I forged some documents to convince the bank, the title people that I own the house, that I'm Carl. And I take out a loan against the house, or I transfer it to a third party, or I do something to encumber that house. And I borrow a loan. Let's say I borrow $300,000 on the house, and you don't find out until you get the notices that no one's made the payments on this new loan that you have.
Oof.
And so now your house is encumbered. You can't sell it. Mm-hmm. The title is no longer clear. This is why we have title insurance. This is why, we cover things. And the problem is title insurance protects the fact that the title was clear when you bought it. It doesn't protect you after it's been bought. So a lot of states have a contract with a company called Property. Property Alerts? Property Alerts. I have to go look at it again. But like if I go to New Hampshire and I go to the town deeds, they'll let me sign up to know when someone's filed something in my name.
Oh,
That's cool.
So, but it's an after the fact thing. It doesn't prevent it. It just catches it when it happens. So
Right.
you could probably get it reversed. But this is an exploit that's based on the fact that people don't check their title every month.
yeah.
They don't have a way to be noticed that, something like this happens. And they're usually playing catch up with the bad guys. So just because you don't know doesn't mean you haven't been hacked. You might not find out until you try to transact the business years later, the property.
Well, okay, but here's the thing. I have my Xfinity account, right? And I went in and I changed my password and I got it to,
What'd you change it to?
yeah, I changed my password and it required me to use two-factor authentication. So first it
Yes.
it sent me a code by email. All right. And then I put in my phone number and it sent a code to my phone number. So 2 codes from 2 different things. If my account was already hacked and compromised, wouldn't I not be able to do that?
Yeah, usually what'll happen is if they do compromise your account
They'll change the password.
and they're taking control of it, they'll change the password
Right.
and they'll
So
set
you-
up a different
So you can't
MFA.
get in anyway. And I would have
Yeah.
known that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Comcast / Xfinity said immediately they forced all their users to change their password.
Well, they didn't, though.
But-
I mean, nobody sent me any.
No, because immediately would have been October 17th, and they just notified people December 18th.
I haven't gotten one.
Yeah, nobody sent me an
My
email.
wife didn't either. Yeah.
And they also say in this article that Xfinity is not only encouraging you to change your password, but your username as well. Which isn't your
Username's
username
not supposed to be secret. That's not a.
Yeah,
That sounds like a zipperhead idea.
but
They were
usernames
also
are
saying you
emails.
should turn on
though.
MFA.
Ah, Oh, your house was broken into. You should change the house number.
That's right.
They're never going to find it now.
Very good.
Wait a
very
minute.
good.
Where's 33? I was in 33. This is 37. I'm in the wrong house.
There is no 33.
These jokes just write themselves, guys.
I know. They really. Anything
that's-
else we want to say about Xfinity before we
Bad Xfinity.
before we
Bad.
ditch them as a customer? I'm actually not going to. You know, one thing that they did, I'll say in their favor, I did get an email that says they have upped my upload speed
Ah,
to like by 100 or 200 times. It was 40 megabits up last time I checked, 45, and now it's like 250.
They're competing with Fidium and other fiber offerings, so it's not out of the goodness of their heart.
I was going to say, I think you guys are doing better than me. I think I'm gig down and like 20 meg up or something goofy like that. It's small.
Yeah, well, that's business, Comcast business.
Well, I don't think I'm Comcast business, and I'm gig down and now 250 up.
You're not business, are you, or are you?
Not business, no.
Yeah, that's the thing. Residents get treated better than business accounts.
Oh, really?
I know, right?
But you can't
I
get-
may swap my business account out.
You can't get stable IPs is the big difference.
Right.
But I've got multiple ways to get to the internet. I'm redundant.
Yeah.
Shocker.
Shocker. And in other news, I just did one of the space geek outs for the end of the year with Richard Campbell
Oh wow,
for
That's
.NET
fun.
Rocks, and he was mentioning how many satellites Starlink is now, and I don't remember the number, but it was an astronomical
It's
number
many
of satellites.
thousands, I think.
Oh yes,
It's like 17,000, something like that.
yes, maybe even 20. I can't remember,
Yeah.
but it was.
I think 20 is the goal.
Crazy.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot. I can tell you though, Starlink internet's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah,
I have it here.
Oh cool.
Yeah. And I use it as a
It's his
backup
redundant.
connection. It's my redundant connection just in case Xfinity goes down.
You know,
But-
you don't take it camping with you?
Nah.
Could.
Nah, I put it up on the roof, but I could take it camping. I should take it camping.
Oh, great.
Put
Dwayne,
the dish right next to my head. I'm sure it won't cause any problems.
You were telling us before we started recording that somebody contacted you, local news, about this Xfinity hack. What happened there?
Oh yeah, no. One of the local WMUR, our local station here. So that gets New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, Massachusetts,
Mass.
and some of Connecticut. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and they're that one of the reporters actually had contacted me to make comment on this. So I
did
got
they-
on the local news, but not for bad stuff.
They obviously listened to Security This Week.
Obviously.
Dwayne's done a few spots for them, and he's caught their attention.
Oh, good.
So
Yeah.
Good.
he's becoming a voice of reason in the wilderness of insanity.
And what a nice voice it is, too, isn't it? Doesn't he have a great voice?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey. That's a little too
You'll
bright.
never find.
It's all the mic. It's all Brendan. Brendan does it all. Makes it all sound nice and amazing.
Super good.
All right, moving on. New security vulnerabilities uncovered in pfSense firewall software patch now. pfSense.
I've never heard of pfSense.
I haven't either. It's lowercase pf and then sense, capital SENSE.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pfSense is actually a really decent firewall.
Oh, it's an open source.
Yeah, so if you want to, let's say you're deploying an asset, I don't know, in the cloud or whatever, and you just want to throw a quick software firewall up, pfSense is fantastic little firewall to do that with. And the issue here, there are three issues really. So two of them are what they call reflected cross-site scripting attacks. Mm-hmm. Which is a non-persistent attack. And the reason they say it's non-persistent is a reflected attack. There are two types of cross-site scripting. Cross-site scripting is where I'm going to inject script, and you're going to click on a link or visit a page, and it's going to run that script.
Okay.
Right? And lots of people think of the classic like pop-up that comes on the screen, but there's a lot more dangerous things. I can steal cookies and all sorts of other stuff.
Okay.
So a reflected cross-site script means I'm going to give you a link to click on, and the code is usually in the link. Oh. But if you don't click on that link, you just go to the web page, there's no issue. A stored cross-site scripting attack would be where I put the code up on the server somehow. So, for example, I go to register for a new account on a website, and as my name, I put script. Well, if any administrator's looking through the users, it would run the script. That's a stored cross-site script. So this is a reflected cross-site script, which means if you don't click on a link from a hacker, you're not going to get exploited by this. Okay. Right? So something to know is that those two XSSs, they're important, but don't click on random links from what you think are your firewall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Third one is a little bit more important. This one can lead to arbitrary code execution, RCE, remote code execution. And this is literally just because they're not validating two pages, really. They have a interface gif edit.php and an interface gre edit.php. Both of those are not sanitizing input from the user. Uh-oh. So if you can get to those pages, you can upload stuff that will run. But those pages are actually behind a login.
And now Dwayne's going to tell you how to find them.
So here's how you do it.
It's criminal career advice.
Woo! Yeah, so I'd say, this is an important note. If you're running a pfSense firewall, there are 3, exploits. It is important for you to go patch, but I wouldn't get all hyped up about it.
Okay. All right, that sounds like break time. We have a few more stories, including our mega story. Yes, Virginia, they are listening to you. So we'll be right back after these great messages. And we're back. You're listening to Security This Week. I'm Carl Franklin. That's Patrick Hines and Dwayne LaFlotte. And we're talking about the week's security news. And Apple is in the news because they released security updates to patch critical iOS and Mac OS security flaws. How critical were they?
Yeah. Very
Pretty critical.
Very? Were they critically
so this
critical?
Update includes 12 vulnerabilities, by the way. 12.
Count 'em, folks, 12.
Is that inclusive or in each?
No, that is inclusive, I believe. So you're looking at vulnerability in account information, their video encoder, the Bluetooth, the Find My protocol, the Image IO, the kernel, the Safari private browsing functions. Siri had a vulnerability.
Wow.
WatchOS.
WebKit, which is also part of the browser, had an issue. So there's quite a bit in there. I know one of the vulnerabilities that I believe was fixed with this is lots of people were crashing iPhones using the Flipper Zero. So there was a Bluetooth protocol exploit that you could run on the Flipper Zero that would just constantly crash iOS devices. I believe that has been fixed in here. So no more Apple shenanigans if you own your own Flipper Zero. So these bugs, there's actually quite a bit of them. One of the things you're going to want to do is make sure that we've always said this, make sure iOS is up to date. According to this, if you haven't updated recently, you should just go update. So if you're running anything Mac OS, iPad
Always
OS,
good advice.
TV OS, Watch OS, anything with an OS at the end of it,
Or starting with an I.
exactly. You want to make sure that you go patch that ASAP.
I hack.
Yeah, and according to them, anything less than iOS 17.2
Wow.
on your iPads and tvOS. So that's actually relatively recent.
Well, I turn my phone off when we record, so my phone is currently off, and that's a good thing to do at least once a week, as we have said many times. But I don't believe. I think I'm all up to date. Every time I see a thing that you need to update, I do it, and you should too.
Me too. Yeah, and Windows Defender, just Defender, I guess now. Microsoft Defender has been telling me every time it's not up to date on my phone. So,
oh man, speaking of that, it looks like Windows wants me to update. So I'll see you later, guys. Boop, boop. No, I'll reboot after this one. So okay, just do what we say. Patch, be patched, and you'll be fine. So let's talk about SSH. So SSH is the pretty much the de facto secure shell protocol that the internet uses, and it protects the world's most sensitive networks, and it just got a lot weaker. What happened?
This one's interesting and deep. So this was discovered by security researchers. Let me hit you with the FUD first.
Okay.
A scan performed by the researchers found that 77% of SSH servers exposed to the internet are vulnerable to this, and 57% of them list the vulnerable encrypted protocol as the preferred one.
Wow.
So sounds pretty damaging, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about 76% of every Linux box connected to the internet that has SSH on is vulnerable. You go hide your Linux servers, hide your, whatever. But you dig into this, and there's a lot of requirements around this. You're going to hear about Terrapin.
Yeah.
And Terrapin is the process they've dubbed for exploiting this particular SSH vulnerability. So it's a vulnerability in the cryptographic algorithm between the client and the server.
Okay.
So when you go to connect with SSH to a server, you use a client, you use PuTTY or whatever, and you connect in. And that cryptographic tunnel that's created, you need to negotiate. We need to say, are we going to use Diffie-Hellman? Are we going to use this? Are we going to use whatever, right? So we negotiate what type of protocol we're going to use. The server has some preferred ones, and then some, we'll accept it, but it's not fantastic.
Right.
Same thing with the client, right? What these researchers have found is they have a way, if they are man in the middle. So
they control the network.
If they control the network, if they're man in the middle, they can actually negotiate the protocol in a way where they can insert themselves in the middle and watch all the data going by, which shouldn't be possible.
So how can this happen? And again, we've talked about this in the past. If you use a Wi-Fi, an unsecure Wi-Fi, if someone gets control of your router. So some of these exploits that we talk about, like the pfSense, that's a firewall. If I got into the pfSense firewall and got to control packets, I could have a packet come in, alter it, and then send it out as you. Who's going to know?
Right.
Yeah.
And then when the tunnel comes in, the tunnel's weak. I can read it, but you might not even detect that it's been downgraded.
Yeah, exactly. So what would happen is it'd be almost like a classic man in the middle proxy situation where your client would connect to the hacker, and then the hacker would connect to the server
and say, "Here's my key."
Right.
And then the hacker says to the server, "Here's the key." Right. So the hacker thinks the server thinks the hacker is the client.
Yeah.
And then you're just passing on data.
Exactly.
Oh man. So this is, this is a good teaching moment. This is the difference between WhatsApp and Signal.
Yes.
Because WhatsApp is encrypted from me to Facebook and then decrypted at Facebook, re-encrypted and message sent to you.
Yes.
So it is encrypted in transit, but Facebook gets to decrypt it and they get to look at it.
And anyone who hacks Facebook can see it.
Whereas Signal
I love
is end to end. It's just me to Dwayne. It's encrypted.
Yes.
There's no man in the middle.
So I love in Carl's example here that if we were to liken it back to this story, that makes Facebook the hacker that's doing the man in the middle.
Yeah, I like that.
Is I think happy. Aptly probably appropriate. Yeah.
Very good. All right, shall we? Clickbait time?
Yeah. So wait, let's close this one out. So the recommendations here. What should you do? There's the recommendations from the researchers are they've explained this bug. They are going to come out with a patch for it. The likelihood of it happening is so low. Okay. It's not like hey, the internet's on fire.
And it's not seen in the wild.
Right.
I see.
So it will get patched at some point. But the researchers have said, listen, the SSH protocol was created, back in the 90s because at this particular university, somebody was sniffing usernames and passwords and text and that sort of stuff on the network. So they said, hey, we need a secure way to manage these servers. The protocol hasn't been redesigned in 40 years. So they say, really, you should tear the whole protocol down and rebuild it.
Yeah, but technology is really slow. So why would you 40 years? Who would ever need more than 640K?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll see changes to that coming down the pipe. But like I said, if you see a lot of hype around, oh my God, 70% of the internet is vulnerable, I wouldn't worry about it too much.
All right. That brings us to our clickbait story, which we need to disambiguate the hype from the reality, because there is a little bit of hype here. The headline is, a marketing company claims that it actually is listening to your phone and smart speakers to target ads. So this isn't like a security researcher saying, hey, we've discovered that Apple and Amazon and all these people are spying on you. This is a team from Cox Media Group, CMG, a marketing team that is claiming that it has this ability, and they're marketing to their customers to say, hey, you should do some marketing with us because we can listen to your target market, find out what they want, and then send them targeted ads. They're claiming that they can do this. And they say that it's completely legal because of the end user agreements that people sign when they get the device allows them to do this. So has anybody verified whether this is real or they're just trying to get business?
There's an enormous amount of anecdotal evidence that this actually happens.
Well,
and I think it's a big deal that no one will actually act upon. So go back a couple of decades. And Amazon or whoever, maybe it was even Barnes and Noble at the time, came out with one-click buy.
Yeah.
And the privacy police came out in droves and said, this is ridiculous. And, they're remembering who I am. And therefore that means they're tracking me. And no one cared.
Mm-hmm.
It got a news cycle. It got one news cycle. And then everybody's like, okay, one-click buy. That sounds like a good idea. And they used it. And this is probably not great. This is, probably not ideal, but it's the state of play. It's the way. I know people who won't have a device with a microphone in their house.
Well, let's talk about this quote unquote anecdotal evidence and whether it's compelling or not. I have experienced when I go and I look up a site in my browser or I click on something on Facebook, like an ad or something, that I see more ads for things like that in Facebook. And I totally expect that. But I've had people in my family say that, oh, I was talking to my sister at her house about shower curtains. And then all of a sudden I get this ad for a shower curtain, right? Yeah. All right. Really? I mean, I don't know as if that's not coincidence, because how many other times don't you see things that you've been talking about? right? That when it does happen, it seems like, well, how would they know that?
Well, all it
Right.
would take is one of the vendors, whether it's Amazon or Microsoft or Apple or Google.
Or Facebook or
All companies known to never cross any lines,
Yeah,
more realistically.
right.
It would take one of them to just, say, when you see this keyword, we have a an ad with, these people on Google. Let's pick Google, for example.
Yeah.
Flag their ad ID as if they searched for it.
Right.
And now you're suddenly going to see ads for it.
Yeah.
And the ads ID, I mean, I don't claim to understand everything about ad IDs, but there's definitely an anonymized identification for
There
all of
absolutely
us.
Here's what I
And
know.
that's the part that kind of protects us, is anonymized. They can't find out, the average person can't find out Patrick Hines, is looking for hemorrhoid cream.
No, but here's the thing. Here's how they can know this using perfectly legal methods. And I know this because I'm a web developer and I know the actual JavaScript libraries that you can use to do it. You can know what things people are looking at as they scroll Facebook and how long they stop and look at something. Not just that you clicked on it, but you're scrolling, and then you stop. Oh, that's interesting. And they know that you've stopped and looked at that. And they can just put that in a neural network, in a database or whatever, and then have some sort of AI looking at that and say, okay, based on these interesting things that this person finds interesting, they're probably also looking for shower curtains. And so
Maybe.
then that person might have talked to their sister after seeing a shower curtain ad and not even clicking on it, just stopping and looking at it for a minute.
Right.
Or 30 seconds. And then all of a sudden, and then I'm getting these ads for shower curtains. Well, yeah, but you stopped and looked at it on Facebook, and
sure.
that's enough
Yep.
for them to know.
You don't pay a subscription for Siri or Alexa or Google
Or
Home
Facebook
or any of that
yeah.
stuff. So we are the product.
Yeah, if the product is free, you're the product.
Exactly. And so we live in a world where most of this stuff is free. I'm not a privacy freak. I'm a very public person. I don't care if people know. God help them if they come for me. But I don't care if they do, So therefore I'm not too worried. I don't worry about this too much because I'm not up to no good and I'm not a target. There are people who this would be a big problem for.
Yeah.
I'm just not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all if this is just part of the feeding the maw of advertising, which is what powers our free services world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But this article is rather a little bit above like, hey, I was scrolling on a website and I stopped.
No, this is
like,
the perpetrator
hey,
saying, yeah, I can do that.
Right.
Yeah, because this is like they said, what if your customers were saying, hey, this car lease ends in a month, we need a plan. They just happen to mention that to your spouse.
Or you're talking to you're just talking to your spouse and you say, we need a plan. The car lease ends in a month. Exactly. It's
a huge invasion of privacy. It's just, I don't think it matters.
If it's
in the
true,
United
but they're
States.
claiming
If
it's true, but we don't really know that it's true, do we?
When someone tells you who they are, believe them.
Well,
This is not a humble brag. This is them trying to use it.
No, but it could be BS to get them to get more marketing.
False advertising,
right?
if it
Sure.
is. If I go and advertise with them and it turns out they can't do this, they've just defrauded me.
Then again, I've been known to be very naive in the past about these things, so they could be completely right. Yeah, what should we do?
We should engage them.
Okay.
And say, we sell a password manager. Mm-hmm. And I would like to listen to anybody saying anything about passwords. And then, well, no, I mean, right? That'll work well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
hey, I'm trying to get into the bank account. What's the password?
What's our password again?
Password
1, 2, 3.
Fluffy 1, 2, 3.
Dwayne you just hacked this article. You just hacked this article.
Brilliant.
So, we have data feeds that give us lots of information that we can use for, dark web stuff and auditing and stuff like that. Some of the above board stuff, they go really out of the way to make sure that it's anonymized, that you can't place it to a person, and you're not supposed to place it to a person. And if you ever place it to a person, it's not their fault. You know, if you read these
Right.
license agreements, no one reads the license agreements except for, you know, really bored people. I would be shocked if the personal assistants don't have something in there where they are allowed to listen and act on data they receive in order to expand your experiences. Something that sounds very, you know, easy on the ears.
Oh, yeah.
And doesn't bother you at all. And it's really just, if you mention, you know, you want to buy speakers or you need a new laptop,
I have
you
a
can
great
get ads
idea.
for that.
I have a great idea. You know how ChatGPT can read legal documents and then sort of Englishify it?
Yeah.
You should get the end user agreement for your iPhone, for your Alexa, and have
ask it
ChatGPT read it and then ask it questions about privacy.
I love that.
That's a great
Isn't that a
idea.
great idea?
Yeah.
That's a great. Maybe we'll
better
do that
than-
on the show at some point.
Maybe
Better
we'll
than
do that
spending
next
a
week.
Saturday reading it.
Yeah.
Let's do that next
we can quiz
week.
ChatGPT and be like, all right, tell me all the ways that Apple can now screw me.
Oh, I love this. Using AI against AI.
Oh my God, that'd be fantastic.
All right, guys. Hey, I'll see you next week.
Sounds
Yeah,
fantastic.
you'll-
Looking forward to it.
And you mean that literally.
I mean that
I know,
literally,
right?
in person.
Looking forward to it. Thanks a
All
lot.
right. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.